JD, what's going on, man? It has been way too long. There hasn't been a whole lot going on in the NBA, but there's plenty to talk about, plenty to catch up on, not only with hoops but around all sports. So, what's going on, man? How are you doing? How's the heat down there in Portland?
Well, Chris, I'm just trying to survive on a 9 to 5 and you know what I'm saying, just sleep good with the AC on. You feel me?
I hear you, man. I got my AC right next to me. Hey, so JD, I want to kick it off right now. Like we said, there's not a lot going on in the NBA in terms of action with games and kind of the big trades have gone by, but we had summer league. It came and went. We got to see a little bit of Scoot. We got to see a little bit of Big Wimby, and we got to see some players that we didn't think would stand out as much. So what's your take on the couple weeks down in Vegas?
I thought it was productive for a lot of these young guys to get their name out there, see what if they're NBA ready, you know, to get in some game shape, get some shots up, get some reps. It was nice to see Big Vic. I'm happy that he played at least 2 games. We didn't get to see Zion play. So it was great to see Big Vic. I really liked what I saw out of Chet, and it sucks that Scoop got hurt, but what Shaden Sharp showed was all right. Hey, I'm ready to play, but he's still young, and you're in Vegas, so what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So you might stay out a few nights a little late.
Hey, so here's my thing. Okay, let's jump into it. So Shaden, Scoot, and Simons. I feel like everyone's talking about Scoot because he was the number three pick. It's a high draft pick. There's a lot of hype behind him. Some people say he would have been number one if it were another draft. Um, Shaden's getting a lot of hype, and he's the second guy people talk about when they talk about the young core. Um, and I mean, we saw flashes, right? And he had some big games when all the starters started sitting out the rest of the season. But I feel like Simon should be mentioned ahead of of uh, of Shaden Sharp. What do you? I feel like Simons is a more valuable asset and uh, produces more than Sharp right now. Like, what do you think's going on with that?
I'm not sure what the organization's thinking, but I agree absolutely. Simons has played what 4 years in the league now, right? I think the problem with Simons is that we still need him to put on a good more 10, 15 more pounds, man, and so he can endure an NBA season because, like the great Nip said, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So the NBA season is a grind from October is when training camp starts, or whenever, I'm not sure. And when the season, if you're trying to win a championship, you're playing till Father's Day. So it's a long season, and you don't get many breaks. And now you throw in meaningless in-season tournament. We try to turn the NBA to a European fucking soccer match, which is a great, I guess,
Tell me how
but
you really
I'm not
feel.
sure. I'm not sure what it's supposed to do. Players are, you still not getting a ring. Uh, I don't know. You know, I think it's a way for the NBA to get a few more dollars, but players are still not going to care until April, May, June. So, Adam Silver, I'm sorry. I know you're trying to spice it up, put some sriracha on it, but
Ah, all right.
you
So
know,
hey, we're going off script here, but I want to ask you a question. So NBA's
I'm
making some
sorry.
changes. No, you're good, man. I like this. This is what it is. It's just a phone call between two dudes, and we're recording it. We got to run a show, but we don't have to stick to it. So my question: NBA making these tweaks to something that's kind of historically, been settled, been firm. Do you think they're looking at what Major League Baseball is doing and kind of looking over at the kind of increasing the speed of the game, the automatic ball strikes that are coming? Do you think the NBA is like, man, we got to tweak a little bit for Gen Z? We gotta make some changes here to keep people's attention as attention spans get shorter.
I don't know. Basketball is the same sport as it was 1950, just like baseball. You can't. You know, listen. This is not soccer where you got 90 minutes to play a game. All right, and it is what it is. We're gonna be a tie. Like no. So I don't know the attention span. Let's keep it real honest, Chris. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
but most people get their content via TikTok and Instagram. So
Yep.
that's just what it is. For the people who love the sport, they're going to watch it. But, thinking that you're going to gain you more viewers because you have an in season tournament where it means more. No, I might watch less. Okay? Period.
Yeah, it's kind of corny. It's corny. You know, I mean, they tinker with the All Star Weekend, with the dunk contest, with the events, and it's crazy to think about too. Like they do that in all leagues. I was at an event earlier today. King Griffey Jr. was there, and we're coming off the MLB All Star Weekend, where we saw Julio Rodriguez hit 41, 42 home runs in a single round. When Griffey was in the home run derby, they got 10 swings of the bat. Think about that.
How to make them count. How to make them count, Chris.
10 swings of the bat versus, I think it's a 3 minute timer. I don't know what it was, but enough to hit 41, 42 home runs. So people people are changing and evolving, but sometimes I think if it's not broken, why fix it?
I got a
NBA throwing
question
in
for
the
you.
yeah, hit
What
me.
has the NFL done? What has the NFL done?
They've moved the Pro Bowl from after the Super Bowl to before this. They tinker with the Pro Bowl.
Okay, but as far as the game, anything else? Have they really?
Yeah, they expanded the preseason, right? Or shortened the preseason.
Well, I'm saying
Expanded
about the
games.
game. The game.
Well, neither sport. Baseball has changed their game with automatic ball strikes, with the extra innings rules, which to a purist, it's like what the you have like now it's like the Bible. You got the Old Testament and the New Testament because you can't compare the two different eras. It's like, bro, there's a split. It's the Sonics and the Thunder.
Pre-steroids, after the steroids.
You know, so I
You
don't know.
got the King James version,
I don't even
the
like.
NIV.
I'm a guy like I embrace change if it's evolving. If you're evolving the sport, right? If
But
people
at
are
what
getting
cost?
bigger, faster, and stronger and breaking records because of that, I embrace that. But
Yeah.
I get pissed at little tweaks like OSAA going from 4A to 5A to 6A. Like now what? How do we compare? Who's what? The Big Ten having schools all over the country. It's just
You got East and
why?
West Coast.
It's all money.
Doesn't
It's
make
all
sense.
money. It just
And I think
everything.
that's the problem, Chris. Right
Tradition
there.
is
You hit
dead.
it.
Tradition is dead.
Nostalgic is gone.
Gone. Gone. So if they're trying to cater, they're trying to make money, and they're trying to plan for a younger audience. But what you're doing is cutting off that bridge, the generational gap of parents and children, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, fathers and daughters, whatever it is, being able to introduce them to the game. They don't know
Yeah.
that. It's like trying to help your kid with homework right now. Motherfucker, how you do math? I know how to do math, but not the way you guys do it. This cotton
Are you
candy
smarter than a fifth
bubblegum
grader,
bullshit.
Chris?
Yeah, but I'm not going to show my work. I'll show you these nuts. Oh
Here's the
man,
thing.
stop tinkering with it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I
That's
think
that.
that, yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure what the board of directors, because this is a group decision, and so I would love to know on the board of directors who said all in favor of in-season tournament, and because everybody's getting a cut, a share of however many millions of dollars. Okay, cool. All right, so I get a bag. Well, why don't you put that money in the NBA All Star game and be like, all right, hey, whoever wins this game, it's more important. I don't know. But I don't like, I think they need to tinker and put the money in the All Star game because for me personally, the NBA All Star game at one point was the best sporting game amongst pros versus pros. And and
Yeah,
and,
I
bring,
would
and the
say,
reason I bring that up is because we got all these summer leagues coming up. We got all the pro-ams. We got the Peach Jam. You know, we got some talent
and
out here and people competing and playing
if
some
that
good
got
basketball.
televised, it would do numbers beyond the All Star game in its current format. And that's another thing. The NBA is tinkering with, individual quarter scores and charities and all this bull. Just play for pride, man.
Do
But
you
anyway,
like the
that's
Elam ending? Do you like the Elam ending
the what
that
what.
the Elam ending that they've implicated at the end of the All Star game? Do you like
What,
that?
what do you mean that you? Oh, no, no,
You
no.
don't like that? I do.
Just just play a normal game, dog. Just play a
Because it
game and
allows
try
a
to
team.
win.
If Chris, the reason I like it is because you know when they all come down. All right, D stop. Like a D stop on an Elam ending actually means something. So
Yeah,
the
but can we
other
just play
team
the
doesn't
whole
score.
game? I miss the days when it was Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson going against Steve Nash and Kobe, and we're going back and forth. Iverson gets the MVP, scores 40 something points, and it's just dudes out there hooping. That is what they get paid to do, not do all these fucking bells and whistles. We're not at a carnival. Like, come on, man. Like, let's just play hoop. Let's just hoop. Let's just see who's the best at hooping. What's wrong with that? Can we just play a regular
So
game?
who's the best at hooping right now? So I got a question for you.
Huh.
Because it's the elephant in the room in the NBA. All right. It's the
All
white
right.
horse. What is going on with this trade with Mr. Lillard?
You know, they fucked up. Um,
Who did?
Joe Cronin and whoever he's got working for him, Dame called their bluff. You know, it's like when
He called their bluff. But,
I got you, I got you.
mm,
So it's
yeah,
like the
yeah,
wife. It's like the wife saying, "Hey, you're gonna fix that, the deck, right?" Every weekend. It's like, "Are you going to fix that deck?" "Yeah, I'll get to it." You make maybe a little progress, show that you buy the materials, but just have them sitting out there. Um,
that buys you a little bit of
Keeps
time.
asking, buys you time, like shows a little bit of investment. Um, but eventually, she's going to just call her own construction person to get it done for her because you haven't done anything. Like, and I think that's what it is. It's like Joe or whoever is calling the shots over there, is has been just kind of feeding Dame little scraps from the table, like, "Hey, it's okay. Everything's, we're trying to build a team around you." And the draft was really it. The draft showed we're going in a younger direction. We're not going to trade this pick. Now, I think Dame clearly only wants to play for Miami. That's fair, right? Like, he was never going to leave Portland, ever, ever. Like, death do us part. And now he's going to leave, and there's one place he wants to go. I don't think he's ring chasing. I think there's a lot of other he maybe there's relationships, maybe there's opportunities, maybe there's family. Who knows? Um, but what Miami is off. Miami has Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and a bunch of picks, and I don't think that's what Portland wants. So it's tough because Dame wants to go to a certain team, but Portland, Joe Cronin has to stick up for him. So has to have some backbone and say, like, "Yeah, you've done a lot for this team, and we're gonna and honor your wishes, but not bend over like and take it and just say, here, whatever you have, Miami, we'll take it back." They need to find a third party, and I think that's what they're doing. Um, if it goes Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and a bunch of picks, I'm done. I quit.
All right, I got three
What's your
things.
take
I
on
got
this
three.
on the Fed?
I got three things. It's multi-layered.
All right.
Okay. I believe that Lillard was sold a bag of goods.
Yeah, perfect way to encapsulate that.
I believe that he was sold that. However, I'm tired of NBA players, i.e., Anthony Davis, James Harden, signing these contract extensions and then asking out. I don't think that's a good look for the NBA, personally,
That that's a good
because
take. I
you
haven't heard.
you you
Yeah.
you signed an extension, Chris, 2 years ago. You knew what the writing was on the wall for you, but you stayed there to sign the extension. Why? Because
Hold on.
Portland's the only team that could give you the max.
Hold on though. Was Stott still there when he signed his extension?
He signed it last summer, I thought. I thought Lillard signed that extension last summer.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So
So
he
yeah.
didn't have to sign that extension. He could have played another year, and he was going to get his bag no matter what. Because you know what? He could have did a sign and trade, right?
But
So,
also he could have no. So but he's not a dealer, right? He's not thinking about if I do the. He wasn't thinking about sign and trade or trade any like that. He was an
but
optimist, maybe to a fault, thinking that this team would work out.
optimist for the Portland Trailblazers, Chris?
No, for himself that he could lead the team.
No, come on, no, come on, man. And see, that's where
I'll,
you gotta
I'll
come on.
fight you for
You know, listen. Okay, well, all right, cool, fight me.
that.
But last time I checked, he's not. What Rick Pitino say? Ain't no Larry Bird, no Tim Duncan walking through that door, bro. All right. So so my second part is that he wants to go to Miami because organizations win championships, not players.
hmm
And he sees that, okay, Bam, Pat Riley,
Underdogs.
Eric
That's what Dame and
Spoelstra,
Dame is an underdog. Like, sure, he's
you
a
know,
perennial all star, but he came from
and
he was overlooked, so that actually clicks. He wants to be in a place full of people like him with that same underdog, chip on your shoulder, something to prove mentality. Okay, go on.
I'm at the point because right now you got the whole thing with James Harden, but it's like James could have been a free agent last year. You signed this little 1+2. These guys are just taking this money because they want their money, but then they're not living up to the contract. And I think that is just a bad look around the NBA as a whole, as us as fans and people who pay for them to have this salary,
Okay,
right?
I got some
And
for you. What's your third point?
my third point is that if you're the Miami Heat, do you trade Dave Lillard for Eric Spoelstra? Hey, it's been done before.
Yeah, in the
Coaches have
fucking
been traded.
in like the 1940s, bro.
John Gruden was traded
That's
from the Raiders.
that's football.
Doc Rivers was traded.
Hey, that'd be sick, though. Yes, I'm on
So,
board for
so my
that.
question
Wait,
is,
did you hear that? Did you hear that somewhere, or is that from your own? Did you just come up with that? Because that's hot.
no, I came up with that because Eric Spoelstra is a local guy.
Oh
So
yeah,
the reason I
yeah,
asked that,
homegrown.
is because what else is what the Blazers Miami has
give us Pat.
zero
Hey,
players.
give us Pat
They know.
Riley, Eric Spoelstra, and Zoe, and we'll give you Dame and nothing else.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying
we don't want
that,
nothing else.
Chris, what does Miami have that the Blazers want? Nothing but a coach. Okay,
Yeah,
they have zero.
you're
So
not
if I'm
wrong.
Miami, I know that Miami's not going to do that. But if I'm Eric Spoelstra, I'm like, okay, trade me to the Blazers, right? Hold on, listen.
No, why would he want
Yes,
to?
because then I'm going to tell Jody Allen, I want 5% of the Blazers team. I want to sign a contract. I need a 10-year, $100 million contract, and I need 5% of the team.
Why? We're about to be in the gutter for 10 years.
I want 5% ownership.
He needs to wait until we're buy low, sell high, man. We're kind of in the mid
I
right
don't know.
now.
I think this trade is gone on too long. I personally believe that Dame Lillard is not getting traded until November. He's going to go to training camp. There's not a third team. All these rumors of Ben Simmons and all this, nobody, and when I say this, nobody wants to help out Pat Riley get one of the best players in the NBA.
Only takes one team. Only takes one, my guy. So, hey,
So I got a question. Give me a
huh?
great story about your time with Dame Lillard.
So, you know, a little known fact is when Dame was drafted by the Blazers in 2012. Um, I was filling in for my boss who was on. His wife was having a baby that weekend, and
Oh, okay.
so I went there as the PR point of contact. So the PR person in sports is kind of they're real close with the team. They take people around to interviews, appearances. You start to form a bond, and um, I was also shooting content for the website and for the socials. So kind of a dual role, but I knew we had the sixth and the 11th pick, and it was pretty dope. I think it was like my second time in New York. Might have been my first time in New York. Come to think of it, and so it was fun. I went to a Yankees game, sat with the bleachers creatures. First time on the subway, but it was great, right? So I'm staying at the same hotel as the draft class and their families and everybody that's invited to the green room. And there's media availability the day before. There's a community appearance, and if you're with the media, which if you're with the team in that capacity, that's where I was. I'm gathering content. That's where I wore that hat. But on draft night, I was wearing the PR hat. But got to see Dame, um, Dion Waiters, Andre Drummond, Myers Leonard, Anthony Davis all go to this school in Brooklyn and kind of hang out with the kids. And it's funny, I got a picture of Dame wearing some Jordan 11s, patent leathers, the Concords. Probably the last time photographed wearing Jordans or any Nike apparel before he signed with Adidas. But the next day at the draft, so Dame gets drafted, walks across the stage. I'm sitting there waiting because NBA PR helps with team PR to connect you with your new draft prospect, introduce you, and I'm looking up there. I'm taking photos. I see Dame walk across the stage, do his kind of somber look with David Stern. Um, then he walks off the stage, comes around, and the first person that embraces him, and the only person that embraces him before I'm introduced to him, is John Calipari, and they hug it out real hard. And I got a photo of that actually, and I was like, oh, I don't know how you guys know each other from the circuit, maybe, but it was real cool. He was real emotional. Then I got introduced to him and started walking around. They have this media uh, row that you do,
Blitz.
the blitz after you get drafted. So you go from ABC to ESPN to team stuff. So he got on with courtside with Mike Barrett and Mike Rice, who was doing a draft party back at home, and he was wearing my Beats headphones in the photo. Then he did general media availability with the folks that were there. And then the 11th pick is coming up, so I'm like, Dame, I'm gonna be right back. He's got a circuit he has to do. NBA PR was kind of like next to us, so they kind of handled the next two stations. I run up there, and as I'm going up there, the 10th pick is Austin Rivers, and Doc Rivers is doing TV at the time, I think. And I am next to them as they embrace, which was pretty cool. A father and son after the son gets drafted in the NBA, and it was real cool. And then there's somebody else that came through real loud. One of the I think it was Thomas Robinson, but so then I go and meet Myers, and Myers is a little different. He's a little bro-ish. Um, he's masking his kind of vulnerability with this cockiness, and he kind of like made fun of me for not, I had the wrong, the selfie or not selfie on the video camera. And, but then the two of them, I'm like, hey, Myers, Dave, can I get a photo of you guys together? The two Blazers prospects, and took that picture. And it's the only picture I think of those two together on draft night, and I've sent it to them, and they've posted it on social, every anniversary or whatever. But that was a cool night. So I was the first person to greet Dame and say, welcome to the Portland Trailblazers. And now he's saying goodbye to the Portland Trailblazers. So I think at first I was like, man, that's messed up. You said you were never gonna, you said you were loyal to the soil, right? You said you and Lil Wayne said you were loyal to the soil. You're never gonna leave. And but I think times change, people change. You look at your life, you're like, I'm in my prime. I don't have a lot of years left, and I have three kids and a wife, and these dudes are playing me. They're selling me a bill of goods, like you said. So anyway, that's my long-winded Dame story. I got plenty more of Dame stories. That dude was since that interaction, like kind of cemented a I don't know friendship. I guess like when I had he knew I had my son KJ a little bit before he was drafted, and he ended up texting me on Father's Day, his rookie year, and said Happy Father's Day, just out of nowhere. I was like, what the fuck? Real good dude. So love Dame. Gonna suck.
I
It's gonna
second that,
suck to
man.
miss him.
Dame is, Dame is a community guy, and I'm not trying to speak bad about him and the contract and get your money. I'm all about players getting money. I just wish that wasn't the culture, just like social media and stuff and the look at me stuff that we've talked about before. My interactions with Dame have always been pleasant and great. He's attended, when I attended Highland, I've walked by him before. And when our kids attended his basketball camp together in 2016 and, got pictures that I made sure you were doing something else. And when KJ was up there meeting with him, I took pictures of him,
I
you
thought that was the
know,
CJ camp.
you know what? You're right. But it's still a basketball camp with Portland Trailblazers. And he
Hey, you
was
know what I'm
there.
saying? Yep. And Dame did go to that camp.
And
Yeah, he came through.
and Dame was up there and he took a picture with Kaya and I took a picture of him and Lillard, but I know for a fact though, Chris, that this wasn't something that just came out of the blue for him. He slept on it. He's probably had some sleepless nights and he just said, hey, it's time to go and let's just figure this out. You drafted
Yeah.
Scoot Henderson and it's time to, hey,
I'm too grown to be
it's
competing
just
with a lottery pick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm past that.
let's figure this out. So,
Hey, but speaking of,
I think that's a.
go ahead.
I was going to ask you. We got just one more thing. Who are the teams that helped improve themselves in this past free agency period?
Oh man, I thought there wasn't a lot of movement, right? There's a lot of teams that re-signed current players. Draymond Green probably being the biggest one. Um, I feel like as much as we like to make fun of Dylan Brooks, I think Houston did a good job of getting Dylan Brooks and Fred Van Vliet. And I don't care. There's a lot of salt being thrown at Dylan Brooks, including us. It's just fun to make fun of him because he plays
But for good reason.
for good reason. But he's a dog, and he'll knock down a
Yeah,
three, and
he's
he'll come up. He'll come
yeah
up in the clutch. And for
yeah.
him and Fred Van Vliet to be mentors to the young core down there in Houston, who are already they're looking all okay. They're developing nice. I think Houston may have made out a lot better than folks think. Um, two teams that I thought maybe you're putting a little too much on the Amex card. The Lakers. I think they overpaid for
Oh
Austin
no
Reeves.
no Laker slander
I
on this show.
stand
No
up.
Laker slander on this show.
Listen, I'm
No Laker slander on this show,
listen.
Chris.
I love Austin Reeves as much as the next white guy, but I think they overpaid for him. And I think the Blazers obviously overpaid for Jeremy Grant. What are you doing signing a guy at that trajectory in his career arc, knowing you're not going to retain Dame? Like this dude is going to be, he's like a millennial in their Gen Z. Like I don't get that. So Blazers and Lakers overpaying. Houston as kind of a sleeper free agency winner for me.
Man, You gotta take that disrespect out your mouth. Talking about they overpaid for Austin Reeves,
Yeah,
4-year deal for 50 million.
I think. Hey, I think that
Wow.
he was a one-hit wonder. Austin Reeves is a
No.
one-hit wonder, and
Okay.
everyone is
Okay.
on his
All
jock
right.
right
All
now.
right.
And we're gonna see this.
All right.
Hey, what's the
So
date?
you're
Today's
saying
July 20th,
so? Hold up.
2023,
So real quick though, the winners are Houston and the losers are the Lakers.
and Blazers.
Wow. So okay. Okay.
What you got?
All right.
There was not a lot of movement. There's not a lot to react to.
The Lakers were definitely not a loser in free agency.
I know,
How
but
about that? This is
maybe
I
I
heard.
just want
Okay,
to
you
get under
just
your skin. Maybe I knew that would touch a button.
and that's why I'm keeping it kosher. Here's the sign of a good deal, Chris. And I heard this.
Hit me.
If you signed him today, could you trade him tomorrow? And yes, you could trade Austin Reeves tomorrow. That is a contract that is tradable. I think a
Okay, and
winner.
could you trade Jeremy Grant at that price? Hell no.
No. So that's why the Blazers are a loser. I think a good a smart pickup, and this is one that I just happened recently, and I want to see the young man shine because he played at U of O, and that's none other than the Mister Name Twice himself, Mister Bobo. All right,
Who
I
do you
want to
sign with?
see Phoenix.
I can see him shining there, man. I could see him
Yeah,
shining, just floating out on the wing.
I
Cam
want to
Johnson
see. I
part
want
two.
to.
He's the second coming of Cam
I,
Johnson, only twice as nice.
I want to see Bobo get some run, man. You got a 7'2" guy out there who really's got handles. I mean, I wish we could pull
And
up
a
the
wet
clip
one.
right now and him coming down, crossing him over, and doing a little pirouette spin and a little Euro step. Like Bobo got handles, and he played high school and ball with Shaq's son, and he didn't get too much run out here at U of O because he got hurt, but you know. I want to switch topics though, Chris, and
No,
you
I
had
want
the
to,
pleasure.
yeah, let's, I wanted to ask you. So we were talking about all these players switching teams, right? In the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's about to be a mammoth player switching teams in Major League Baseball.
yeah,
Probably the most you like they calling Porzingis the unicorn is a disgrace to this man because
that's
we haven't seen
disrespect.
anything. That's disrespect. What's beyond a unicorn? He's AI. He's fake,
Yeah, he's
and that's
chat.
Mr. Otani.
He's
That's Mr. Otani.
yes, yeah.
So what do you
That
think's going
that
to happen?
guy.
You think they're going to trade him?
Well, here's what I'll say, Chris. Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, earlier in the year, last year, he puts the team up for sale. Oh, Angels are for sale. Then he takes it down. The guy doesn't know what he wants to do. He bought the team right after they won a World Series. So you bought them probably on a high point so they haven't really done anything. You signed Albert Pujols to one of the worst contracts ever. You have
Ever.
Mike Trout, the second coming of Mickey Mantle. Mike Trout has played in three playoff games in his 10, 12 year. You're talking about one of the greatest players at his position. His WAR is one of the greatest, ever. Anyways,
Hmm.
you have a guy who leads the league in home runs, triples, total bases, any major stat category. Shohei Ohtani's there, and then he also is just like Clayton Kershaw. He can pitch and strike everybody out. He's a unicorn, Chris. He's one of one. But I think that if you trade him, all the players that you get now are going to be like all the players. So you get 6, 7 players and whatever. All those players are going to be known for the rest of their career was you were traded for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
You were traded for him. He was part of the trade. He was part of the trade. He was part of the trade. And I think you just got to let it ride. As an owner, you can be like, all right, hey, I gave it my best effort. I gave him $400 or $500 million. He declined it. What am I supposed to do? Because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But I believe that people will look at him even worse if you trade him to the Orioles or the Rangers, and those teams go and win a World Series and compete. But what Major League Baseball needs most is they need these players playing in October. You need eyes, and if that guy is playing in October, he's pitching and hitting home runs in October. We're going to be watching him play. And I think it sucks for him. He came here, he wanted to stay here, but the team is not progressing the way you would hope for. For a one, that's why LeBron left Cleveland.
Yeah, so I'm with you. Thank you for that rant. It was much needed. I felt like you had to get that off your chest. Hopefully, it was therapeutic for you. Uh, but and nothing you said was wrong. Where's the lie? I couldn't find one. Um, my thing is, okay, so a lot of the rhetoric right now is that whoever the Angels trade him to he'll be a rental for them, and then he goes into free agency, in the off season. So my thing is, why are we classifying him as a rental? Like you said, if he goes to a team that goes up and wins the World Series, why wouldn't you re-up with that team? I'm not a student of luxury tax and the collective bargaining agreement of Major League Baseball, but shit, there's got to be a way to get it done, right? If you have a not once in a generation, once in a lifetime, once in a sports existence player,
Yeah, yeah, once in
you
a
pay for it.
generational or lifetime, because none of us saw Babe Ruth play baseball. No one saw
It's
Babe
one,
Ruth play baseball is alive right now.
and he's putting up numbers better than that. So
Exactly.
it's once in the life of the sport, once in a lifetime of the sport.
Yeah.
So hey, I would do something strange, man. I would come up with anything to get some money for that dude to whoever is able. If he is a rental, like fuck it, I'll take him on the Mariners. Trade everyone but Julio. We'll play 2-on-9. Uh, because as a business, right? As a sports team, as a business, all the merch you're gonna sell, that is gonna fly off the shelves worldwide.
For that,
Not just.
hey, yeah.
He's a global phenomenon. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Yao, but on a bigger level. So I think from a business standpoint and from a sports standpoint, you throw everything to try to get that dude on your team, and then hope you can wine him and dine him and get him to stay.
So I typed some stuff up and I put this in our notes and stuff, and you can read them off with me. But if they
Uh,
trade Otani, is this the biggest sports move in history? Is this on the same level? Now, for our viewers who don't know, Babe Ruth was not traded from the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees. He was sold for two hot dogs and a soda. And that curse lasted 86 years on the Boston Red Sox. So is that bigger, Babe Ruth being sold? The other one I had, Chris, is when Wayne Gretzky, Mr. Canada, he left the Edmonton Oilers and went down to LA. And because of that, he created the Sun Belt of hockey. I mean, you got hockey in the California teams in Arizona that is solid, really good hockey. The Kings, the Anaheim, the San Jose Sharks, like all those LA teams are good hockey teams.
yeah.
So is this one of them? I mean, I
Uh,
can keep going.
no. So here's what I would say. While the statistics are there, while the dominance is there, let me ask you a question. When Babe Ruth was playing baseball, how many social media apps were there? How many
Mm,
how many streaming apps were there? How many different
mm,
TV channels were? You know what I'm saying? There is so much right now to consume people's time. I bet you go down the street, the first 100 people you see, you ask them if they know who Otani is. I bet you get 20
yeah.
tops. Now, Go back to when
I don't
Babe.
even think you get that, Chris.
Yeah,
I don't even think you get that.
go back to when Babe Ruth was playing 20 out of 20, hands fucking down. So I would say no, Babe Ruth, and it's just because of the way the world has changed. There's just too much going on. There's too many other things that people are interested in outside of baseball and outside of pro sports. So no, I would say Babe
How
Ruth
about
is
this
still
one?
bigger.
How about this one that is real recent? How about this one?
Hit me.
Messi coming to America.
I think that. What's weird? I think that is bigger for countries outside of America than it is for America. Because I don't think America gives two fucks about soccer.
That's
And
not true, Chris. That's not true, Chris. This is Soccer Town USA here in Portland, Oregon. What are you talking about?
this dude drinks too much Kool-Aid. Let's be real, dog. Nobody cares.
Soccer Town USA, Portland, Oregon, man. Come on, Chris.
I thought it was Tracktown, man. Let's get to what are we? What
That's
are we?
Eugene. That's Eugene. I said Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon
no.
is. Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris.
Let's be real. It's not Soccer Town. Get the fuck out of here. But hey, all I'm saying is, I don't think that. I think that Messi coming to the MLS is bigger for Europe. It's more of a story for Europe than it is for America.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And
I
while
know.
our USA women go and they play tomorrow and they're going for a three-peat. Our USA women are going for a three-peat, the Women's World Cup, and I got to get that shout out in. But you're right. I mean, if we can bring European stars over here, for when it comes to this sport, I mean, how about this? F1. Look at how big F1 is here now in the USA. That was a European sport. Now you got it in Miami. You got it in Vegas coming up in November, in Austin. You got other cities building Formula One because it's all about what, Chris?
It's all about the money, dog.
It's all about the Benjamins. All
Mm-hmm.
right. And we got 50 years of hip hop though, Chris.
Hey,
And come on,
50
man. It's
years of
all
hip
about the
hop.
Benjamins, Chris.
It's
50
all about
years
the
of hip
Benjamins,
hop.
baby. We can't play it because of
You,
copyright, but we'll still pretend like we're listening
you
to it.
know, we grew up. We're lucky enough that we grew up during a really good era of hip hop.
I remember exactly
And
where I was when I found out Tupac got shot. Like,
you
and
know,
Michael, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were there from we have roots in the old school, but we were raised in the mid school, and now we're tolerating the new school.
that's a key word, Chris. Tolerate.
Tolerate these kids.
Um, you know, uh, so I got a question for you.
Hit me.
And is I need your top five artists, Chris. Your top five, not who's the best, not who's better, who's got better bars, who is Chris' top five artists? Give me your top five, Chris.
Okay, so this is not the greatest. This is a five artist catalog, and I'm on a deserted island, right? So
Yeah,
like my favorite mix with who I think is the best. So I'm gonna go with Big. I'm gonna go with Big.
that's so I need. Okay, first let me rewind this.
Hit me.
So is Big number five or is she number one?
Oh, I didn't go in order. You want me to go in order?
Yeah, I need number one. I need to know who's number one.
Shit.
Yee! I need to know who's number one, Chris.
All right,
Not
you
five.
give
Oh,
me
I like this guy. I like this
you
guy.
give me your five and let me rank mine while for our viewers so they don't have
Okay,
to.
so number five. Number five is him. You know what I'm saying? We throw this up.
The
You know
hoe.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He touched a Billy. Jay did. You know what I'm saying? Reed. And like he said, LeBron, he's technically a rock boy too. So, I'm going to go with Hov. Number four is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, man. K Dot. K Dot is that guy, man. His last CD, he hit on that mental health, and he really hit on the my auntie is a man now. He hit on some subjects that uh, not a lot of people really want to talk about, you know. So I like him. Number three is him. Is you know what I'm saying? Is the one light skinned Jermaine? You know what I'm saying? That's J Cole. J Cole is God. You know. You know, Chris, like I played it on IG when I tagged us, you know, Lillard on his song. Like, J. Cole is, I don't know, like this, like, listen to his last two albums. This let me know, like, he's for real. And number two, I mean, come on, man. It's just me and my girlfriend. That's got to be Pac. You know, I'm a West Coast. Like, come on, man. Tupac is all eyes on me. Like, why they have to kill Kato? But Pac is my guy, and you know I'm gonna go number one. And my daughter knows who number one is, and it's not a drum roll. You know, it's the one and the only. That's Drizzy. You know what I'm saying? Drake is number one, man, and uh, it's amazing watching his run in real time, like actually being an adult and seeing like, wow, this guy is pretty good. He's pretty good. So those are my top five artists. Uh, I would say this though. Jay Z is tied with. I had to put Hov a little bit in front because I like his music in certain parts a little bit more. But Snoop Dogg is tied with Jay Z. I love
I was
Snoop.
gonna say where's Snoop at?
It's Snoop is right there. He's 5B, you know, but Jay is Snoop. Them is my OGs, and we was raised on Snoop and Dr. Dre and them. But you know, number one is Drake, man. How
Bet.
about you, Chris? Who your top five?
All right, JD. So my top five is kind of a top six or a top five A and B in the five slot. But a lot of mine cross over with yours. But I think that I think I got some surprises for you. So number five, B. And this is a dude. Some people might hate on me for this decision. Some people might think, hey, you got good taste. You recognize, real recognize real. And that's Big Sean. Big Sean, he has some of the best wordplay that nobody talks about. He has some
that's
double
your. That's
and triple
yours. That's
entendres.
yours.
That's mine. All right.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and since we're talking about Detroit, I'm going to go five C and throw Eminem in there because of what he did um, to change the game when he kind of burst on the scene. And then 5A is another man from the West Coast that I think you kind of omitted from yours. But if you had the chance to do it again, you might put him in there, and that is Mr. Calvin Broadus, Mr. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Mr. Snoop Dogg, Mr. Snoop. The guy that you see on the Corona commercials, that you see on all, everywhere on TV these days. He's kind of the Shaq of corporate sponsorships. Then we move into
Exactly.
number
Yeah.
four, and I'm glad you had him on your list because this was kind of going on. I get dragged a lot by my kids because they think I'm a boomer, and they're so cool because they're Gen Z and Alpha or whatever. But I put Drake up there, man, and you know, for all the hate that he gets, he still puts out really, really good music, and he has two different styles. He can put out some some really gutter hard street rap, or he can give you a love song, and he's got two different gears. I think you have to recognize that. Then number three, I have you know the Dreamville CEO, Mr. J. Cole. You talk about wordplay, and the dude is on another level. The stories that he tells, and we'll get into albums when we talk about albums, but I think he, at a young age, had such a good perspective on life and fame and struggle. And I don't know what it's like to go through struggle as a black man, but I just know struggle in general. And I think it's therapeutic to listen to some of his music. And then number two, I feel a little bit of disrespect from you from not including this man. He came out at the ESPYS and dropped a remix to a Millie. And this is Mr. Lil Wayne. Um, and how do you not have him on your list? He's my number two. I think we'll have to have a conversation off the air about this, Chitano. I'm worried about your health. You might have some heart, you might have some dementia going on. Alzheimer's happens to people at our age. You know, it's rare. So maybe you forgot about his influence on the game. But come on, man, Lil Wayne, that was our influence. Like that was like from 15 to 30. Like he just owned the rap game. So and the fact that most of it was off dome and while he was on promethazine, let's go. Come on, man. Like this dude was he is kind of, I guess for the younger generation, he's kind of the godfather of rap right now. Because the younger generation doesn't recognize uh, an honorable mention on my list, Jay Z, or my number one on my list, the notorious Christopher Wallace, Big. I didn't want to put Pac and Big because that just takes up two spots, right? And we only got five. And I'd put Pac on there somewhere. Maybe they're 1A, 1B. But I prefer Big, and it's not an East West thing. It was his presence, and it wasn't even like you have a presence when you're listening to like audio. You don't have a presence, but like you felt like you were in the room hanging out with him when you heard his lyrics. It just he made everything flow so well. Um, I'm still listening to the stuff that's coming out that, was demos or stuff that was on the cutting room floor. And he really has like it's poetic, but with punch and rhythm. And I don't know. I just I respect him, and I take Big over Pac if I had to choose one of the two. That's my
I
spiel
mean,
on
I
top five.
respect the Little Wayne, but like you gonna sit here and say, but how you not gonna have Pac on there? But hey, like you said, like I don't have Big on mine. You know what I mean? So, I understand it. Lil Weezy, you know what I mean? He's a goat. But for me, like, and see, I got Lil Wayne on mine. So that was our top five artists. These are my top five albums, right? So number five for me, it's Tupac's greatest hits. I mean, we
Is
played
that
that
considered
CD
an
a lot.
album? Is that considered an album? A greatest hit? That's
Yes,
cheating. That's cheating. But I'll let you have
it
it. I'll
is
let you
because
have it.
they sold it at the store.
I mean,
It's not a mixtape.
okay. That's like saying a
It
soundtrack is
isn't.
your favorite. It's
What's
not an
not?
album. He didn't put it together.
Hey,
Hey, okay. Go ahead,
I'm just
King.
saying.
Go ahead, King.
Okay, so all right, I'll say this. All right, if my favorite Tupac CD, other than the greatest hits, is probably Better Days. All right, that's probably my favorite. So number four, is probably the first CD I remember rapping to, and that's Doggy Style. Um, man, a lot of classic songs. When I met you last night, baby. Okay, so number three, man, Chris, we spent a lot of time listening to this one right here, the Chronic 2001. Woo, in your
Oh,
Acura,
yes,
man.
sir. Yes,
We
sir.
spent a lot of time, Chris, in your Acura, your Forerunner, playing this one. All right. That's number three. Number two is the Carter 2 and 3.
Oh,
You
you got
see
to
now
pick
you
one
think
or the other. Which one?
I gotta put both. I got the Carter
Hey,
2. Then the
okay,
Carter
okay,
2.
okay.
We spent a lot of time. He's in the front of the Phantom with that joint. He got that joint with Corrupt. Like, yeah, we spent a lot of time playing that out there at Western. And number one, this is the soundtrack of 2003. That's Get Rich or Die Trying. Um,
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, that's senior year.
Man,
Senior year slap.
hey man, you
Many
put that
men.
21 questions. You put that 21 questions with Nate Dogg. I mean the anthem of every birthday is what? Chris, what they saying at the birthday? Go. Go, shawty. It's your birthday. I mean, that is the number one anthem song for any birthday.
And they got the Magic
Is
Stick on there. They got Many Men. They got High All the Time. They got that one with Eminem where he references like the towers, like they missed our building. They should have dropped them on ours. Like,
so yeah. So that's my top five hip
yeah,
hop
man,
albums, Chris.
you got me all jumbled, man. Now I got to rethink my list.
Yeah, because
Shit.
I went old and new school, but like that Carter 2, Chris, hit different though, bro. We played that so much, you
Yeah.
know,
Okay. Okay.
like
Okay. Okay.
that's
Okay.
that's one of the ones. Yeah, I could put Wheezy, but Wheezy's that guy. You think I'm disrespecting him, but I got him on my top five CDs.
No, you're okay. You're okay. All right. I get out of jail free card. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, were you a tapes or CDs guy?
CDs.
Yeah, CDs nuts.
Daddy. All right. All right. So
Got him.
my top five isn't really a top five. It's just a list of albums that like kind of come to my mind because a lot of my stuff is like when an album comes out, I will listen to it all the way through. If it's someone I like, probably two or three times. But then it just gets splintered out into different playlists. I rarely go back and play the full album. So I want to start with two double albums, and that is before we actually hit the scene and we're allowed to drive cars and do all the things we can. That's Life After Death and All Eyes on Me. I think All Eyes on Me came out first, I believe, and you can't play a song from either disc that doesn't just kind of get your head going. And I think that might just be like 90s West Coast music in general, but you can't play a song from either one of those out, and they have some masterpieces. Um, and then Life After Death, they have too many skits for my liking, but I think it suffices as a top five. Then I have something that we haven't talked about this man yet. Um, the Life of Pablo. The Life of
Damn
Pablo.
that. Hey, that's a 1C for me because that Life of Pablo is a great one. I like
There
that one a lot.
are hits all the way through, from Wolves to Real Friends to just No More Parties
Yeah,
in LA to Famous. I made that bitch famous. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's
yeah,
funny. I was talking to my daughter Presley is obsessed with Taylor Swift and this Eras tour, right? And we didn't get tickets, so she's going to one of Crystal's clients lives in an apartment that overlooks on Lumen Field, so she's gonna watch the Eras tour from there. But it got me thinking, actually. So Taylor Swift's tour is eras, right? So every album is a different era. It's cute, right? You know who'd have a better eras tour than Taylor Swift? Fucking Kanye West. Every single album, he had a different personality. Every single album was a different Kanye. I miss the old Kanye. No, I miss the older Kanye. Like he, we could have a whole podcast about Kanye and
that would be
kind of
so Kanye, like you said.
exactly. So anyway, Life of Pablo goes on there from my Kanye album, or College Dropout. But yeah, okay. Carter 3 is my Little Wayne submission. I go Carter 3 over Carter 2, probably for personal. Just we that was the one that we played over and over and over and
Amele,
over,
amele, amele, amele.
and everything from that song that he has
A
with Robin
lollipop.
Thicke, Lollipop, the song with Robin Thicke, like the old Officer
Wee,
song.
wee, 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 wee,
The
wee,
whole
wee,
thing
wee.
goes.
Like
The
a
whole
cop
thing goes.
car.
The whole thing goes. Then I have you mentioned greatest hits, and that got me onto something. And it's a tie between the Bad Boys 25-year anniversary greatest hits where you have all the Big and the Puff, but you also have like Black Rob, you have Little Kim. Um, that has a sentimental thing for me. Also, with Puff Daddy's album All About the Benjamins came out 96, 97, 98, something like that. And it was the first album after Biggie died, and it had that song "I'll Be Missing You." Um, but I put that in there too. If I'm in my mind, we're building a museum, right? And so I put that in my museum. 2014 Forest Hills Drive, got to be there. J. Cole was ahead of his time.
Really?
I think those like that's the one where it's he has Love Yours. Rest in Peace Uncle Phil. Like it's just there's so much depth to that album at a young age for him that I feel like that album spoke to me. Um, and it stuck. It stuck for a decade. Um,
I think Off Season is his best album though. The one he put out 2 years ago. I think that's his best album.
I mean, it depends. Different strokes, different folks. That one hit me. Maybe that one hit you. One that I think you're probably going to be going to sleep tonight and be like, damn it, why didn't I put that on my list? What's wrong with you, man? Jordan Robinson is rolling over in his grave. The Black Album. The Black Album. Why would you not have the Black Album on your list? I guess you had
All
Hove
right,
in your top five.
so can I be honest with you?
Hit me.
All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, so when you said Little Wayne, I changed my stuff up. If you go back and look, if you go back and look at me, I'm on the computer changing my list because my number five was the Black Album. Not gonna
Okay,
lie.
and you had us like, hey, it's all good. I changed my list 100 times, right? Like, hey,
But once you got me thinking, I was like, damn, we played a lot of the Carter, but the Black Album was number five.
hey, fair is fair. Fair is fair. I called you out on
I'm not
Tony
gonna lie to
Tony.
you.
We're good. We're good. We're good. Hey,
I gotta
and
keep it a bug.
and
I gotta keep it a bug.
because of you, I put Chronic 2001 on my museum of albums because of course, yeah, it's like it's where people learn to see like that was the album that was in the garages, like trying to hang out and have a good time in our last 2 3 years of high school, uh, our formidable years. That was our anthem. And then the last one, I'm gonna throw a curveball. Some people may say he's not hip hop. I've been vibing with him for the last 6 months or so, and that's Mike Posner. He was a singer. He's still a singer, but he also puts out hip hop too. He's a producer. He has an album called Keep Going, where he says in the first track, please listen to this consecutively because it tells a story. And the dude, he was caught up in the life, right, of a celebrity, of a musician, trying to have the most followers on social, have the most girls in his DMs, and had something switched in him, and he decided, fuck it, I am too, life is too short to live by other people's expectations. And he took an entire year off. He physically walked across the country to kind of clear his head, find out who he was as a person, grew his whole hair out. It was a whole thing. And there's a music video on that album that really kind of hits. So I put Mike Posner's "Keep Going" album in my museum personally.
I respect it. That's a solid list, Chris. We can sit here and talk about hip hop. The anthems. You know, music. Man. Whew, just going through this list. I mean, I don't know how many things went through my. Just I flash back to being in your Acura, bro, and you being
Hey,
like, I just got that
Saint
36
Lunatics.
chambers Wu Chang.
Oh,
Like
oh,
I just got.
oh! I need to put Wu Tang Forever on my list, man. Fuck.
Like you just got that Wu Tang album. You're one of those guys that had the thick black binder, double sided. You had a lot of music, man. I remember being in the whip and being like, "All right, JD, go find us something to listen to." And there's a lot of honorable mentions in there, like you said. But we can sit here, Chris, until the sun comes up and name a CD, and there's something that we did together. It brought
Yeah,
back a memory. That's how we warmed up for the basketball game. I mean,
everything.
kids don't know what it was to make a mixtape for their pregame. Like I at our high school up until senior year, we actually had our pregame warm up as a tape,
A cassette tape.
a cassette tape.
Hey, with the Sharpie on the label.
And you couldn't have any cussing,
What'd you
you
guys run out
know.
to? What'd you guys run out to?
It was something. It was a Pharrell Jay Z song off of the Gift and the Curse, I think, senior year. But
Okay, Gift
when
and
you're a
Curse was hard.
sophomore on varsity, you got no say on the warm up tape. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. We used to run out to
Even though
we ran out to the Rockweiler by Method Man and Redman. And the thing was, that was like a
that was
tradition.
junior year.
But that stuck for like 4 years. When Alex and Danny got there, I think it preceded them. And then when I started playing before I transferred, we were running out to the Rockweiler, and it was it was just a jam, dude. Like that's the thing is like it's personal to you. Music is subjective. If you can connect with something on your own and it means something to you and it helps you perform at a higher level, fuck everybody else. Let it run.
Yeah, and this is 50 years of hip hop. I wish I could go to some of those concerts they have. We left off a lot of people. We didn't put no LL Cool J on there. I mean, there's a
I thought
list. We
about
didn't
it.
put no Eric B and Rod Kemp, Paid in Full. Like, there's so much music, Chris. Like the
It's
50 years,
subjective though. It's
Too Short,
subjective.
E40,
We
blow
could
the whistle,
honor
Chris.
but we could honor the legends. We could honor the legends, but the list was to you, and what
Yeah,
hits for
and
you. So I like
yeah,
the way we did it.
yeah, and one last thing though, man. I
But
appreciate you doing this show with me. It's always a treat when players meet,
hey,
and I, you know, you my guy, Chris, and
mm,
in this right here, talking about music, sports. What else can you talk about as two old washed up dads?
that's all there is, man. The glory days and the days that bring you joy. And I'd rather, there's nothing in the world I'd rather do than talk about it with my boy. So, JD, let's wrap again soon when there's some stuff to talk about happening in our culture's world. And until then, my guy, be good.
Have a good one, Chris.
All right.